All right, we're back. We just had our interview with Danny Vega. Yeah, that was a great interview. Thanks, Jim, for getting a hold of him.
He was amazing, and I feel like we could go into multiple episodes with him, and I'm sure he's down for that. So thanks again, Danny, for hopping on. Always awesome.
Absolutely.
So the next segment we're going to get into, guys, is our optimal concepts of the week. And we would like to focus in on meditation and mindfulness. Danny talked a lot about this as far as, how it's helped him, be so successful in his life and focusing on his day-to-day purpose and how he sets the tone for his day with not only himself, but with his kids. And so we want to jump into a little bit of what mindfulness is. And by definition, it is the practice of purposefully focusing your attention on the present moment and accepting it without judgment. So, kind of thinking, about the here and now and being okay with that. And it's actually interesting. So mindfulness is now being examined scientifically for multiple things. So we'll kind of hit a few key points here. Subjectively, improving well-being, again, helping you become fully engaged in the here and now, the present moment. It's also being shown to improve physical health by relieving stress, treating heart disease, lowering blood pressure, reduce chronic pain, improving sleep, and alleviating gastrointestinal difficulties. It's also, I think, most interestingly, being shown to have big feedback on improving mental health. In fact, psychotherapists have implemented mindfulness in treatment for depression, substance abuse, eating disorders, couples conflicts, anxiety disorders, and obsessive compulsive disorders.
And I think that, mindfulness, it has its roots in Buddhism, and it kind of got its start in the Western world, kind of in the late 70s and early 80s, and now it's becoming even more and more popular as we kind of realize how important it is to take care of our brains as it is our body. So you gave that very scientific, but if we break it down, essentially what we want to do is we want to stay in present moment awareness. And I know that when you're trying to achieve mindfulness, what you're trying to do is realize what's going on around you without judgment and without getting too emotional in what's currently happening. It helps you to keep from being reactive, not realizing that there's not necessarily a wrong way to think about something or to feel, because we can't necessarily control that. So it's learning to accept that. And of course, like we said, mindfulness is kind of achieved via meditation. And I know for me, I've been doing specific times in the morning for meditation. I take about 10 minutes. And for me, what it has done is it allows me to realize that I can't spend my time thinking about the past all the time. I can't spend my time thinking about the future. That doesn't mean to ignore those things. That means that I have to make sure that I'm appreciating what is happening in that current moment, because otherwise life's going to pass you by. And I've caught myself, whether it be, and this is, you're at a kid's baseball game or something, and you're sitting there thinking about, okay, what do you have to do at work tomorrow? That can wait. That can wait. You have to be able to appreciate that. And with each year of our lives, relatively, 1 year gets less and less in a relative concept with our life. So when you're 5, a year is 1/5 of your life. But when you're 40, a year is 1/40. That's why time keeps getting faster and faster and speeds up.
Good point.
But we keep messing it up and making it go even faster by not being aware of what's currently going on. So once I started doing that, I noticed that I had an increased awareness of how to be a better parent, like Danny was even talking about, and how to be a better doctor in the moment, and really how to be a better spouse to Courtney. I feel like that's super important, and for me, it's just been life-changing.
So for me, I'm fairly new to the mindfulness practice of meditation, and just within the past month, it's incredible, like you said, being in the present moment with, I don't have kids yet, but with my spouse, being next to Allie, and just sometimes you come home after a long day of work, you've taken care of, 15 or 20 people that day, and you have almost like nothing left in your bucket to give. But sometimes you almost have to like do the slap yourself in the face and be like, man, I'm right here in this moment, and this moment is awesome, or picking up the phone and talking to somebody you haven't talked in a while, and just really appreciating that, you may not get to talk to them every day, but you get maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes on the phone. It's special. And so just bringing it back to that current time awareness and appreciating that moment. So like I said, I'm fairly new to it, and I'm sure it'll evolve just like anything else that we do. With consistency, it's going to be something that I'll hopefully have and pay big dividends over time.
Yeah, it's amazing you can find yourself when you're not focusing on it, that even you're sitting there on your honeymoon and you're on vacation and you have to catch yourself and you realize, wait a second, I'm thinking about something that's not even going on. I'm sitting here, I'm in a beautiful oceanfront suite or
So
whatever it
true.
may be, and you're like focused on something else. You have to kind of reel it back, and meditation really, truly helps with that. For me, and there's a plug, and I'm not getting reimbursed for this, I use an app on my phone called Calm, and I introduced that to Jim, and I think that for me, it kind of gives you some stats and keeps you accountable. It's really nice to have that. It gives you specific quotes and they guide you. So you don't have to have some big background, some big knowledge of, I know exactly what to do, because I don't consider myself an expert by any means. And there's some days when I sit down to meditate and my brain's everywhere and I have to kind of reel it back in and focus on that breathing. And it's really hard to sit there and think about nothing other than your breathing at times. But even when you kind of stray and you lose that focus on the breathing, you have to say, hey, that's okay. I noticed that I started to think and I got to reel it back, and I bring it back to that. And practicing that kind of helps the mindfulness in real life, because you could say, oh yeah, I'm off somewhere else. Let me bring it back to this time right now. So
I got one more thing that I think. I'm a pretty cool, calm, collected guy, but I feel like there are times maybe when I'm driving and people are driving like what I would say would be idiots, and you almost kind of want to lose your cool. The past 2 weeks, I have noticed like total chill mode. When I'm driving in the car, sometimes I don't even have music on, I just have the windows cracked and kind of hearing just like nothing. And it just feels good to almost be like, there's not that overreactive or kind of impulse to want to honk the horn. It's been way more pulled back into like a parasympathetic, relaxed state. And I can appreciate that, no doubt. And everyone else around me, they can too. So
yeah, no doubt. I think that it just reminds you that things are transient, things are temporary. Whatever you're going through in life, it will pass. It will come to an end, and it's going to be temporary, and that's good and bad. So you have to appreciate the good and realize that the bad is not going to be a long-term thing, and you will get through it. You don't need to react and make it blow up into some big thing that would be worse down the line for you later.
no doubt, good point.